In Japan, parents follow a quiet habit that researchers believe shapes how babies think, feel, and learn. It starts in the first months of life, long before the child can speak, and it builds the foundation for high focus and high IQ later on. The habit is simple. Japanese parents stay very close to the baby, watch every small signal, and respond before the baby starts crying. This is called attentive responsiveness, and it teaches the brain that the world is predictable and safe. In many cultures, parents wait for the baby to cry. The Japanese pattern is different. The parent reads the baby's face, breathing, and tiny movements and acts before the cry begins. This early reading is the first lesson the baby ever receives. Researchers in Tokyo and Kyoto tracked these tiny exchanges. They found that babies who received fast, gentle responses showed stronger attention spans by 12 months and faster language growth by 24 months. The habit has a name in Japanese culture. It is part of a wider practice called Kosodate, which means raising a child with attention to the body, the heart, and the rhythm of daily life. The baby is treated as a small partner, not a passive object. Here is how a typical morning looks. The baby stirs, the parent leans in, makes soft eye contact, names what is happening, and offers food, warmth, or comfort. Every step is narrated in calm, simple words. This naming step is powerful. When the parent says, "You are hungry now," or "You hear a loud truck," the baby's brain links sound to meaning. Language begins long before the first word, built from hundreds of tiny labeled moments each day. The next habit is body closeness. Many Japanese families use a soft carrier or wrap, keeping the baby against the chest for hours. The baby feels the parent's heartbeat, breath, and movement, and the nervous system stays calm and steady. A calm nervous system is the secret engine. When the baby is not flooded with stress, the brain spends its energy on building connections instead of defending against fear. This is when neurons branch, link, and grow fast. Another habit is shared gaze. Japanese parents spend long, quiet minutes simply looking at the baby's face. The baby looks back. This back and forth, called joint attention, is one of the strongest predictors of later intelligence. Joint attention teaches the baby that another mind exists. When the parent looks at a flower and the baby follows, the baby learns to share focus. Shared focus is the seed of reading, math, and conversation. Sleep is also part of the system. In most Japanese homes, babies sleep near the parents on a low futon. This is called soine. The baby wakes, sees a familiar face, and falls back asleep without panic. Good sleep matters because the brain sorts memories during deep rest. When a baby sleeps without fear, the day's sounds, faces, and words are saved properly. Strong memory is one of the building blocks of high IQ. The fourth habit is slow talking. Japanese parents often speak to babies in a slow, high, melodic voice. This is sometimes called motherese. Slow speech gives the baby's brain time to separate sounds and store them as building blocks of language. Compare this to fast, flat speech. The baby hears one blurred wave instead of clear pieces. Slow, musical speech sharpens the ear, and a sharper ear later means easier reading, easier vocabulary, and easier learning of a second language. The fifth habit is calm discipline. When the baby does something wrong, the parent does not shout. Instead, the parent kneels, looks the baby in the eye, and explains the feeling behind the action. This approach has a name. It is called shitsuke, the gentle training of behavior through example and explanation. The baby learns rules without fear, which keeps the thinking brain active instead of shutting down. Fear is the enemy of thought. A scared brain pumps stress chemicals that block memory and slow learning. A calm brain, by contrast, stays open and curious. Japanese parenting works hard to keep the baby in that curious state. The sixth habit is hands-on play with simple objects: wooden blocks, cloth balls, paper, and water. No screens, no flashing toys. The baby's hands do the thinking, and the brain wires itself through touch. Touch is the brain's first teacher. When the baby grips a block, the fingers send millions of signals upward. Each signal builds a tiny map inside the brain. These maps later become spatial skills, problem solving, and even mathematical thinking. The seventh habit is daily routine. Bath at the same hour, meals at the same hour, walks at the same hour. The baby's body and brain learn to expect what comes next, and that expectation frees energy for learning. Predictability is not boring. It is the runway that allows curiosity to take off. When the basics of life are stable, the baby spends mental energy exploring shapes, sounds, and people instead of worrying about what comes next. Now combine all of these habits: attentive responsiveness, body closeness, shared gaze, slow talking, calm discipline, hands-on play, and daily routine. Together, they form a quiet, dense, loving environment that runs every single day. Scientists who study early childhood call this kind of environment enriched care. Long-term studies show that babies raised this way score higher on attention tests, problem-solving tests, and verbal tests when they reach school age. The lesson is not that you must move to Japan. The lesson is that intelligence is not built from flashcards or apps. It is built from thousands of small, calm, responsive moments between a baby and a present adult. Any parent in any country can borrow these habits. Slow down your voice. Respond before the cry. Sit on the floor and play. Eat at the same time. Look the baby in the eye. The brain does the rest. High IQ in Japanese babies is not a mystery and not a gene. It is the quiet result of a culture that treats early childhood as sacred, slow work. The whiteboard ends here, but the habit can begin tomorrow morning.